you so much, Darius and Ruben. And I love seeing what you can do with Dubb, because I've said this for, I think, several years now. When it comes to video, I think especially this year, we'll see a lot more one-to-one, one-on-one video messages. So video on LinkedIn, for example, in your direct inbox, or video in email inbox, because it's so personal. And first, we'll dive into creating videos in a much more simple way. And then later we can dive more into what are other things that you can do to make the videos look even more professional, or to save time on creating videos, for example. So a couple of tips when you get started. The main tip I would like to give you is, before you do anything else, before you grab your camera, you need a plan. That's step one. Okay, so if you want to save time on creating videos, the first thing you need is a good video plan. And that doesn't have to be super difficult. It doesn't have to cost you a lot of time. The main thing is you need a good plan. So here are the 3 things you'll need. So maybe you need to grab pen and paper to write this down. Okay, so the 3 things that you need to think about before you start creating videos: people, platform, purpose. People is your ideal viewer. Who are you trying to reach? What is going on in their world? What are they thinking about? What are their questions? What are themes happening in their life or about to happen? So maybe there's questions that you get often. Maybe you can create videos about those questions. So that's the first, people. The second P is platform. If you know who your people, your viewers are, you probably know where you can reach them. It's the platform. So depending on the first 2 Ps, you can decide on the format. So are you going to film horizontally or vertically? Are you going to caption your video? So your viewer and the platform should really help you decide those very practical things. And the third P is purpose. What is the goal? What would you like your viewer, your ideal viewer, to do or think or feel when they watch your videos? Really important to think these things through. Then you create a simple video plan around this. So you think of the start of the video, very important, the first couple of seconds. You think of the middle part of the video, try to divide it up in separate parts so you don't have to do everything at once. And then, of course, think of an end and a call to action. So what do you want the viewer to do? Should they go somewhere? Can they click somewhere? Tell them in the video and ask them to do so. So this is your video plan. If you think of the 3 Ps and you create a little plan, it might take you maybe 5 or 10 minutes, maybe a little longer if it's a bit more complicated video, of course. But if it's a very simple first vlog that you're creating, it should not take you that long. And the great thing is, it's actually going to save you a lot of time down the road, because then if you have a plan, filming will go a lot faster. And because filming goes faster, editing will go a lot faster too. So once you have created a plan, that's step 1, right? So that's how you're going to save a lot of time. Step 1, create a plan, okay? Step 2 is filming. So I'm going to divide the filming part up in 2. First, you probably want to know how to film a person. And secondly, we're going to talk about filming other things, maybe products, or maybe the location you're at. So we'll divide those 2 up. Okay, so let's first talk about filming a person. Do you ever talk to a camera? Or do you interview people? Have you ever interviewed people? This is something most people don't really like, talking to that camera lens. It's very unnatural, right? And some people will say things like, well, you're a natural in front of a camera. Well, some people say that I'm a natural in front of a camera, which is not true. So it's totally, it might look like it. And yes, I'm comfortable right now, but it took me quite some time and some really nice people around me to get the courage to do this. And also it took me a lot of mistakes. So you have to sometimes make mistakes, do it, make mistakes, and then realize that, hey, I'm still alive and I can keep doing this. I think a lot of us think, right, when you're in front of a camera, it feels very unnatural. So I'm going to give you a few tips before we move on to filming products or filming backgrounds or the location you're at, filming a person.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Of course, no, please.
One of the things that I think we'd all love to learn from you is how you actually turn your bloopers, your mistakes, your flubs into some of your most entertaining and frankly educational content. Like, how do you do that? Because I think what that does is that allows us to take discomfort and turn it into an opportunity, which is the ultimate dream. Otherwise, we're going to have 1,000 videos on our phone that have never seen the light of day.
Yes, and I've been there and done that. So I love that question. Yes. So when I first started creating videos on LinkedIn, this is probably 3-4 years ago, I would put videos on LinkedIn maybe every 2 months or so. Why? Because my videos had to be perfect. So they had to be perfect in every way. So my hair, also the editing, everything just had to be totally perfect. And the moment I let that go, everything changed. Everything changed. And so that's why I love this question, because if you can embrace those mistakes, or how many times do you say, or the fact that the video isn't perfect, if you can embrace that, and pretty much you just embrace yourself and are yourself in front of a camera. So if you have a blooper every once in a while and you just continue with the video, people love that. They absolutely love it because it makes you more human. It makes it more real. And that's one of the powers, I think, of video. A huge power is that it can really give you a sense of connection, personal connection, especially the bloopers, especially the parts that you might want to cut out. I have an online course, and in one of my videos, I start the video and then I realize, oh, this isn't good. And then I start over, but I kept that part in it. And I received so many comments on that because people love that I just kept that in there because it makes it more human, more relatable. So yes, I would say yes to bloopers and keeping the real stuff in there. Of course, I know we're all here with a goal, and you're not here to just make funny videos. So yes, of course, there needs to be a clear goal and a clear call to action, and you need to have the right tone of voice, but then as well, you're human. So try to be the same person who you are, when you're talking to someone in a meeting face to face, try to be the same person online, which I know can be pretty difficult to do. All right. So the first part is just be yourself. The second part is, how do you film a person? All right. If you can, grab your phone. I filmed with my iPhone 4 many, many years ago for a national news show in the United States. Okay. I started in television, in journalism, worked at CW in Dallas, and eventually for a national morning news show, was on TV live several times a day. That's how I learned to do what I do. So as I mentioned, I had an iPhone 4 when I was filming for a national morning show, and no one ever noticed this. I did this because I was filming a segment with my, at the time, 2-year-old son, who wouldn't sit still if I had my big camera on a tripod. But if I just had my phone, he didn't care. So that's when I started filming with my phone. And I realized that there are a few things you need if you want to film well. And yes, of course, certain phones have better cameras and they have more pixels, but it's really not about the pixels, as I mentioned earlier. It's not about the pixels. It's more about your personality, but a few things you need. Okay, so let's grab your phone and let's put it in selfie mode, okay? So just grab your phone, put it in regular camera app, nothing fancy here. And let's see some basic things you need to check before you start filming. When you're filming with your phone, but also when you're filming with a webcam, when you have Zoom meetings, also when you have nice, more expensive cameras, these are basic checks, okay? The first check is audio. So you first want to make sure that the audio is okay. An audio check is really just listening to your surroundings, being aware of what it sounds like, and especially being aware of what your voice or the person you're interviewing, what their voice sounds like. There's certain sounds that, you can turn off. Your kids, unfortunately, you can't. I don't know what it's like where you are right now. I'm in the Netherlands, as I said, we're in our second lockdown, and we've been with our children, homeschooling them for several weeks. So they're always here. It's really difficult to make videos because you can't turn them off. So yes, there's certain things that you can control. You can close the door, close the window. You can listen to your surroundings. You can check and see. So this, what you see behind me, is a sound panel. It's a very cheap sound panel, so you can get these online and pay several thousands. I've seen them for really expensive, from a couple of hundred to several $1,000s. These sound panels on your wall, and pretty much what they do is they absorb this sound. So instead of the sound just bouncing off the walls everywhere, this absorbs the sound. And so this is what we made. My husband actually made it himself using just some fabric from a tiny little fabric store down the road. And it probably costs, I don't know, 20 or 30 euros each. But these little things, that's something you can do as well. The easiest way, I've done this many, many years, is just putting down pillows and blankets right in front of you, okay? So listen to your voice, listen to your surroundings, and see, is there anything I can do to make the audio, to make the sound better? And maybe if there's a lot of sound that's bouncing off the wall, you can put down blankets or put some pillows right in front of you. I sometimes even record a voiceover with a blanket over my head. You can even record a voiceover with your nice little headset, for example, plug it in your phone, go to your bed, put a blanket over your head, and record a voiceover. Try it. It sounds professional. Gets a little hot, but it works. All right, that's step one, is listening to your surroundings. Of course, there's also things you can do to make the audio better. So one thing is, of course, to get a microphone. So I don't know if it will actually show you. This is a Rode SmartLav Plus. It's a tiny little microphone, clip-on microphone that you can just plug into your phone, and it simply works. Of course, there are also wireless microphones. I'm not sponsored by anyone, just so you know. I test a lot of different microphones, and I show you which ones I like because they work. Okay, so these are wireless little microphones that you clip on yourself or the person you're interviewing, and you hook one up to your phone. So one is a sender, one is a receiver. One also has a microphone as well. Which one is it? This one. So this one is also the little microphone. And these little things work great. These are the Rode Wireless Go. Now, if you don't have a microphone, don't worry. As I mentioned, you can probably do a lot in the room you're in just by listening, putting down blankets, closing doors, closing windows, things like that. Okay, so that's check one, audio check. All right, let's do a light check. Okay, so that's step two, light check. So here we go. Grab your phone and put it right in front of you. So put it in selfie mode. And I know we're all in different rooms right now. Maybe you're at the office. Maybe you are in a home office and your living room, wherever you are. But let's see what this looks like. Okay, so let's just put your phone right in front of you, put it in selfie mode. And all I want you to do is move around like this and see what a difference it makes when you just turn around. See? So probably when you face a window, when you face the light, it looks a lot better. And the best light is, of course, daylight. So what you want to do is always try to face the light if possible. Here's the cheapest setup ever. If you don't have anything, you might have duct tape. If you have duct tape, it's really all you need. Go to a window, good light, put your phone on the window, duct tape it to the window. Solves a lot of problems. First of all, your hands are free, which is great. Hands are free. So you don't have to hold your phone. Second thing is you have natural light. So the light is perfect. And your phone will be, or your camera lens will be at eye level if you do it the right way. So you really want the camera lens to be at eye level. By the way, you really want to be looking into the camera lens, right? So don't look at yourself, look into the camera lens, because otherwise you'll be looking past the viewer. You're not making any eye contact. All right, so audio, light, and then there's the camera. Oh, by the way, yes, let me show you. There's little things that you can do, like this little tripod, that will make your life a lot easier. There are a ton of different tripods out there. Of course, I prefer tripods that are super light and small, like this one. So this becomes this tiny. This is the Benro BK10. Again, not sponsored, just really like this product. And it has 3 little legs. You can put it on your desk, for example, or any table. And then you put your phone in here. And there's, you put your phone in here, and you can film vertically. And you can film horizontally like this. And it just slides out like that. So it becomes pretty tall. So I definitely recommend something like this, or duct tape, or maybe if you have a regular tripod, yes, use a regular tripod. But what you want is the phone to be on eye level of the person you're filming. Make sure that they're not looking down or looking up, but film at eye level. And you probably want to be a little bit closer than you think you should be. So most people, when they start filming, they are about this far away from the camera, a lot of headroom, room on the sides. You probably want to do is use the rule of thirds. So what it is you can actually turn the grid on in your phone. If you go to the settings or go to your camera settings, and it's those little lines that you've probably seen them before. It's a simple rule. You don't want to be right in the middle, but on one of the vertical lines on the rule of third. And what happens then is you have background. So you, as a viewer, see a bit more of the background. Plus, if you're editing this video, you have a lot of space here to add text or graphics or call to action buttons, whatever you want to add, you can put that here. It's a basic rule. But if you haven't heard of it, look it up because it's going to change your life. And I'm not saying you should use it every time, all the time. Of course not. But it's a nice basic rule. All right, so audio, a light, and then the camera. Those are the 3 checks. If you want, I actually have a checklist that I can send to you through Dubb, of course. So it's just a nice little printable thing that you can maybe put right next to your phone, especially if you're filming the first or maybe second or third time. It's nice because everything I talk about today, it's not rocket science. But if you know these basic checks, if you forget one of these, so if you forget to do a quick audio check, or if you forget to check the light, it can really mess up your video so bad that you have to redo it. So, you know, in the first couple of videos, make sure that you have a checklist or bring along a checklist. Okay. So we talked about the different checks, audio, light, and camera. So let's continue on to filming with your phone when you have maybe a product or maybe a location that you just really want to show. Okay, so I want to ask all of you to grab something from your desk or wherever you are, just grab something around you, an object, maybe it's a pen or a book or a glass of water. Whatever it is, just grab something. And what we'll practice here is to see if we can create creative shots with just that object. Because if we can do it with a pen or a glass of water, then I'm sure you can make creative shots wherever you are. Okay, so let's give that a try. What do I have here? Let's see. I have a pen, right? I have a pen. What can I do with a pen? What kind of shots could I say I'm making a video about this pen? Of course, the most basic thing I can do is just put the pen on a table and film it like this, right? That's the most basic thing you can do. Very basic, but yeah, that's one way of filming a pen. How else could I film this pen in a more creative way? Now let's talk a bit about the power of video, because what makes video different from text or a picture? First of all, video moves. So if you're filming anything, you want to film something that moves, okay? Try to film something that moves. Action. So we want to see action. And I saw a comment from Ryan saying, show you writing with it. Perfect. So you always think, okay, what can I do? What can I show? And this is something I'm hoping that you can take along from this workshop today. Whatever you do, whatever business you have, whatever type of video you're trying to create, try to make it visual. Video, literally the word video means I see. So when you look it up, it's Latin, go to Wikipedia. Video means I see, which makes sense, right? It's visual, sure. But the funny thing is we sometimes forget this. So we often just have talking heads. You know, it's just a person, a head talking, but we're not really seeing what the head is talking about. One of the things I learned very early on while I was studying at the University of North Texas, one of my professors would always say, and I still talk about this every day, say dog, see dog. Whenever you talk about a dog, show a dog. Whenever you talk about a pen, show that pen. Whenever you talk about being passionate about something, show your passion. So show people what you're talking about. Okay, so let's continue talking about this pen. So yes, we can write with it. Something else that makes video different from, for example, text or pictures is that it has audio as well. So the second thing I would like to ask you is to think, how can I incorporate audio in my video? So what are things around me that, I don't know, can make a sound or make a noise? And a pen, of course, doesn't, the only thing you could do with a pen is maybe this, or be really close to it as you're writing. Maybe you can hear it a little bit. But there's a lot of things around you that maybe you could use audio with. And these are the types of things, like very subtle little things that can really make your video pop, because you're really getting the vibe of the room or the product or the space you're in, especially by using the sound and especially by using the different visuals. Okay, so one thing I really want you to remember is, if you want to make your video interesting, don't just film from one angle or one distance. And this especially is true when you're filming products or when you're trying to film a location, a room. So instead of just filming from one distance and one angle, try to constantly move the distance and the angle. Okay, so here's an example. Film like this, or then eagle eye, whoa, or then maybe from below and then further away. So you always try to move around. And you could even do that with the action shot. So someone writing, but then you can move the camera really close to the pen. Maybe you can hear the writing a little bit. And then maybe you can do an eagle eye shot like this from above of someone maybe signing a contract or whatever it is. And then you do a shot further away, a longer distance shot where you actually see someone sitting at the table writing or signing that contract with the pen. Just a few examples, but that's really how you make sure your video comes to life. So those were just a couple of tips. Filming someone, a person, how to become a bit more natural, and also how to film someone. And then secondly, how to film a product or film a location, a situation. And I know we're going to dive into the third part. I really like to talk to you about some apps, some software besides Dubb, of course, some of my other favorite apps that I love to use and I personally use every single day. So couple of apps I love to use, okay? So this, of course, depends on the phone you're using, but since we have a mixed group here today, I'll try to keep it very mixed and name apps that are helpful to everyone. So the first app I would highly recommend is Adobe Premiere Rush. I've seen it pass by in the chat a couple of times as well. It's an awesome app. It's very simple. It allows you to edit in layers, and the basic app is free, but it is not available on every phone. It should be, but it isn't. So they claim it is, but it isn't. If it isn't for you, try the app KineMaster. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that okay. KineMaster. Also allows you to edit in layers. You have to pay a fee per month. So I'm not sure how much it is, or you could pay per year, but it's, I think, totally worth it, just a few bucks per month. That's one. Then another one I really love, and especially for social videos. So say you're all about Instagram, or you're really trying to see if you can do more things on Instagram or LinkedIn stories this year, or I saw TikTok come by. An app I personally really like is InShot. It's a free app. Of course, there are paid options as well, but it's a free app for both iPhone and Android, and it allows you to change the canvas size of your video, so you can change it to square or vertical or horizontal, for example. You can add text. You can add banners. So I love this app. It's almost my number one go-to app. I use a lot of different apps, but I love this app. The videos you see on LinkedIn, for example, I mainly create with InShot, but I use two apps. So I first use InShot. And then the second app I use is Captions. And this is an app that allows you to automatically caption your videos. It's true, really nice. So as you know, Most videos online on social are watched without the audio on, right? Especially on LinkedIn and Facebook, Instagram. So one of the ways to make sure that people actually understand what you're saying is to add captions. Now, in the different apps I just mentioned, of course, you can type along the captions. It's totally fine. You can do that if you feel like doing that. But there's also apps that do this for you. So there's Mix Captions. This one is for iPhone. And then there's AutoCap. And this one is for Android. So these are great, two amazing apps, I think. So I finish up my video in InShot. So maybe I add some banners, add some text, export the video. So it's on my phone just as a regular video. Then I import it again into Mixed Captions, and the app transcribes the video. So it listens to the audio. It will put the words on the screen where they need to be, which is great. And then, of course, I can also change the words. So I can change, maybe capitalize something, or commas, or, my name, for example, it never recognizes, really strange name. So there's certain things that you can still change, and then you export in your video is captioned. So these are a few apps I personally really enjoy to use. I would like to dive into another setup, and that's if you are not filming with your phone, or if you're looking for a little bit more of an advanced setup. So if you are looking for something that we can talk again about the audio, light, and camera check, that's basic checks for any type of camera you use. But if you have a more advanced camera, with advanced camera, I mean things like, for example, right now I'm using the Sony a6100. This is a pretty simple camera. It's probably around $400-500, and I use this as a webcam. So I've linked this up to my computer using something called CamLink 4K. If you're interested in that, let me know. So I hook this up, and that's why you see me in focus and the background is blurry. It's also called the bokeh effect. And so that's one of the things that I really like about filming with regular cameras instead of phones. As I mentioned, I love filming with my phone. Most of the videos I put online, I would say 98% of the videos I make in general are with my phone, but I do really enjoy the nice professional look that a camera like this can give you. That's one option. Another great thing about if you use another camera is that you have more control over lighting. Of course, with a phone, you have some control. Let me show you something that a lot of people don't know. Grab your phone, if you have your phone laying around, and let's see if you knew this. I'd love to hear if you did. Okay, grab your phone, and you probably know this. You probably know that you can tap your screen, right? You can tap your screen for focus. So if you tap your screen, you know for sure that it's in focus and the lighting is just right for that spot you tapped. But did you also know that on most phones, you can also manually change the exposure? So on iPhone, there's that little sun that you can move up or down. And on Android phones, there's a light bulb. Depending on the phone, you either have to move it left or right, or similar to the sun, you move it up or down, and you can change the exposure manually. And another nice little trick that a lot of people are not aware of is you can hold your finger, try to do this, hold your finger for 2 seconds, and it will say locked. So you will lock the focus and the light for the entire recording. And then you can tap it again and it's not locked anymore. So that's something that might be helpful to you if you're looking for more lighting options. But yeah, in general, when you use a regular camera, like for example, lenses, when it comes to coloring, white balancing, so there's a lot more options there. All right, let's talk about lights now that I mentioned lights. Let me show you the lights in my tiny little home studio. Okay, so currently I'm in my, this is our guest bedroom, and it's also my workroom, and it's also my studio. So we're still building on this, but I want to show you the lights. Okay, so let's see if I can move my camera around. Hopefully nothing will, hopefully this will work. Yeah, it should work just fine. Okay, let's see. There's one light over there. You kind of see it. And then I hope I can show you this one too. Oh, it's too close. Anyway, right there is my sun. Since we have no sun here in the Netherlands, at least not right now. That's a softbox. So when it comes to lighting, what you want probably is you want several sources of lighting. So if you are lighting something in the right way, in a professional way, you want to use 3-point lighting. So 3-point lighting is you want a main light, a key light, which in my case is this big light right there. It's a softbox. So it's high up, just like a sun. Then you need a fill light to basically fill up the shadows. So make sure that there's no shadows or not too many shadows. So that light I just showed you is the fill light. And then I don't have it right now, but you can also have a backlight or a hair light, which separates you from the background, or make sure that there's no shadows in the background either. It's a very basic lighting setup. But if you're ever trying to set up a home studio and you're trying to mess with lights and for some reason you just can't get it right, for some reason the shadows just keep messing, make sure that you have 3 lights and just look up 3-point lighting and everything will all of a sudden make a lot more sense to you. So for most of my videos, I don't use all these lights. Right now, it's almost 9 p.m. here in the Netherlands, so it's dark outside. So this is the perfect setup. But normally, so if you check my videos on LinkedIn, by the way, I would love to link with you on LinkedIn. If we aren't linked, let's link. On my videos on LinkedIn, I post a video almost every day, just sharing some tips. And I usually just use regular daylight. So I'm just in front of my window using something like this. You know, put it right in front of my window, use regular daylight, and I don't use all these studio lights around me, just so you know that you really don't have to, because the best light really is daylight. All right, so those were a couple of tips.